Can you hear me now? I've been given a good signal that. Can you hear me now? Oh, no. I've been given a good signal that. Okay, you can hear me? Amazing. All right. This is one of those ones that I've come on here with a sense of urgency in my spirit, in my heart. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. You can hear me. I can hear you too, because your greetings they're speaking back to me loud and clear. It's gone again. Please, is that true? Has it gone again? Has it gone again? Oh, okay. So tomorrow you might have to adjust your own side of tech. Ours is perfect. Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Please make sure you post this somewhere. Tell someone to come be inspired. But I'm quite happy with if I have one or two people, because that's all I need, or that's all we need. If we have the right number of people to take this forward from where it was to where it needs to be. My motivation this morning, the urgency in my heart is nothing but the wider or greater conversation that we all were part of in the financial broadcast yesterday, where the head of finance and his assistants put us on a hot seat, put everyone on a hot seat. The charge that we got was incredible. And we have been invited higher. We've been called up, like, come upstairs, come and live a much higher life. So it's based on that today that I'm going to, that I've come here to say, I want to answer that call. I want to walk towards a higher financial calling, a higher output as a creative on a financial level. My name is Daniel Ihedua. I'm a pastor in the beautiful Nxtion family, the SPAC Nation family, where all we do. I say that and I pause because I remember an interesting conversation I had yesterday. And I was telling them all we do is take people who have no hope of going anywhere, and we bring them and expose them to something and somewhere they would never have. What does that mean? Let me try and unpack it today, because that's what today is about. Today is about how do we have evidence of what we believe, of who we are. If you are a creative, are you making money as a creative? So as a SPAC National, a pastor in the SPAC Nation family, we take people from low socio-economic backgrounds and shoot them as high as is humanly possible. And then we let God do his exceedingly abundantly, far above all that we can ever imagine. For example, an ex-gang member walked up to me and said, what do I do? How do I change my life? I said, you see where you've met me? On a SPAC Nation ground, change has already started. I invited him in, he lived with me, and with me, we birthed a business. Everything about the nation came together and supported him to birth a business. This is London. When the likes of Chris Brown, name it, any big American star, when they come into town, it is this person who says, I want to change my life, that cuts their hair, that does the things that he would never have imagined was possible. That's what we do. That's how this thing we do. And it's across so many industries. That's what we are. That's what I'm inviting you to be part of, to hear me today as we exegete, unpack, look at a word that promises to change our lives. So for the past 12 weeks, good morning. I see you, Pastor Shemaiah. Good morning. Good morning to everyone. Let's talk about how we can enter into an 11 million pound conversation on Thursday. So for the past 12 weeks, what we have dealt with, if you followed this 12 weeks through, what we have dealt with is reformation. It wasn't a 12 weeks that was just only simply creative development. We entered into a process of restoration where us as creative people can go back to the original intent of God. We were decongesting noise for the past 12 weeks. How did we do that, you would ask? What we did was we looked at 12 incredible topics, creative authority, where we asked the question, do you know whose you are? Who sent you? Under whose power are you operating? And then week 2, we looked at creative leadership, that you lead yourself first. And the question was, where are you going to lead yourself? Discipline is your competitive edge. Who are you? Week 3 was creative future, where we said, do you see where you are going? And if you can see where you are going, are you operating from the future in the present? That's why you will not be distracted, because you know that the future you have seen is clear. You see what others don't see. You see what doesn't exist yet. You see that you are a prophet of possibility. And after that, week 5, week 4, we looked at creative value. And here we're saying your painting, your poem, your fashion design, that skirt and that top you designed, it's not your value. You are the value. You are the asset, not your output. Week 5 was creative speech. We looked at it and said, your words, they are your building materials. And it's not even, as long as they've come out of your mouth, they go into action. So we asked ourselves, what are you building with your speech? Because what you decree shapes your reality. In week 6, it was creative double. You know that there is 2 people inside you. One wants to fail. One says, no, I've got a mandate of God. You know that you are a shadow of yourself. The question is, which version have you chosen? Who is leading you? What part of you is leading you? Week 7 was creative room. What do you believe in here? That's one. That's the room that has to be clean. This room has to be zero noise. It must be a powerhouse of light. And then secondly, there was a physical aspect of it. What does your physical room look like? Where you operate, is it messy? What does your room look like? Have you curated your inner and outer space for maximum output? That's what we looked at in week 7. Week 8 was creative taste. Where do you hang around? Remember that scripture that says, I don't walk the paths that sinners take. I'm not telling you to call people sinners, but anyone who is destined not to be anything in life is a sinner. But those who want to, don't sit in the seat of discomfort. What is your taste? Who do you hang out with? Have you raised your standard is what we looked at. Mediocrity is no longer acceptable. Then week 9, we talked about creative craft. Because if your taste is high, listen, what you will build will be incredible. Your work will be durable. It will be transferable. What you build will outlast the moment. Craft is something that is timeless. Have you learned how to build an impossible, beautiful craft? Finally, creative battle, which is where we are really going to unpack now beautifully. But what we're saying is, do you understand what the vision you belong to? Remember, week 1, whose authority are you performing under? Now, if that person has a vision, the question is, do you know what it costs to finance that vision? Do you understand that vision costs? It costs money, not just life. So when we're creative battle was all about money. It's not the individual. Yes, we know you need people to build visions, but 2 people can raise a £1 trillion company. So it's not about people here. It's about the battle with finances. And are you ready to fund this vision you belong to? Then week 11 was creative conversation. That your language or your work speaks a language. Hence the reason why I introduce myself, how I introduce myself. This conversation will always be because I am sent by SPAC Nation. I belong to a family, a community, a nation that speaks one conversation is how do we take people who have no exposure into maximum exposure, who are hopeless into a situation of hope. And then week 12 was creative God. Because when all of these 11 things align perfectly and operate in alignment, what emerges is someone who creates on a frequency that is incredible. That's the creative God. So looking at this and then joining it with the broadcast we were exposed to or privileged to be part of yesterday, I'm thinking, no, we have to be ready for September. We have to get into that conversation of 11 million pounds in 1 month or by September. So how are we going to look at that? All of these things now, creative conversation, creative God, creative battle, creative craft, creative room, creative taste, creative double, creative speech, creative value, creative future, creative leadership, creative authority must produce a creative economy. So with that, I welcome you to Creative Talks. And today we are looking at creative economy. Are you ready? Because if you're ready, I'm ready. If you're ready, I am ready. If there's anyone you can send this out to who is a creative, send it out now. Let them understand how we can build together. So here we go. The transition was supposed to be creative to a business person. But with what we've dealt with, I hope it now is and has become a reformed creative into someone who is a builder. Because remember, business is transaction. A business person is transaction. You can make a quick buck, you can joke, you can just get something, you can make a quick transaction and dash. You're not trying to build any relationship. You're not trying to build anything. But what we're looking at is a reformed creative who becomes a builder. And guess what? Bear this in mind. You are building something that is made to make money. Because the danger is creating just wealthy creatives who have no foundation. You have no foundation, no stewardship, and no eternal purpose. There is nobody you are answerable to. So this next chapter where we are now must answer one question. And this is what you have to write down. You need to write this one down and put it somewhere you can see it every single day. Now that God has built you, now that you've been rebuilt as a creative, the question you must ask yourself is, what does God expect me, the creative, to build? What does your community expect you to build? What will be the transaction point now? You know why? Anyway, let me not go ahead of myself. Let me jump on our foundation, which is scripture. Genesis 2:15 tells us that, and God took man and put him in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. There is always something that is happening. So what that scripture is saying is, before humanity had a salary, it had an assignment. So I'm hoping that the 12 weeks we've covered have exposed you to your assignment. And everyone who I'm speaking to now, permit me if you've just stumbled onto this conversation, but I'm speaking to a community of creatives who are part of a family, part of a nation. Have you discovered your assignment? Have you discovered, especially now that we are speaking the language of community, have you discovered your assignment? Because first and foremost, before there will be an economy, before there will be even your community, whichever community you're part of or you're leading within the creative nation arm of the nation family, before there is an economy or before there will be that community, there must have been cultivation. There must have been a growing, you being cut into, pruned, watered, and all kinds of things, weeds pulled out, all kinds. There must have been cultivation. This is the first business instruction God gave mankind. It's not to make money. Ultimately, we are going to make money. But the thing is, you know how distraction money can be when it lands in your hand. Yeah, money got to my head. Oh, no. Cultivation must happen first, where you are fully and firmly rooted where you are. So, what God is asking us now is everything He has put in our hands these 12 weeks, now, plus the plethora, big word, the many words we've heard within the nation. Cultivate it now. Cultivate what I have put in your hands. It's that cultivation that we're going to unpack for us to see how we can, by 11th of September, we would have entered into millions of pounds worth of conversation, as in financially. We have to understand what we need to cultivate. Remember, for this weekend, what we are supposed to come closer and knock on the door and say, let me in, is 10K, 20K, 50K. But by September, we have to have reached £1 million levels. This is the foundation of the creative economy. This is what we are going to look at now. This is what we want. I want everyone to understand so that you come in closer and say, let me in. I want in. I am in. Let's have a conversation. Because for us to be able to hit, yes, it requires faith as well. But for us to be able to sustainably every month drop in the millions, faith without works. What is works? Is what we want to hone in on. What do we do as works? It can be hustling, movements that takes us nowhere. It's now the building of kingdom. I don't even want to use the word kingdom. Systems from week one, building systems from creative authority. And our creative authority is PT. We must understand how to build systems that can turn out finances on a very regular basis. So the shift from creation to cultivation. What does that mean? Very quickly. If a woman just gives birth, creation has happened, then there has to be a raising of what has been birthed. Yes. And again, if I peel right back, the foundation of it is week one, who am I? What am I responsible for building? What am I a part of? You must know who you are. Because anyone who walks into Nando's every morning and just wants to bake bread or Snapjacks or the things you see on the bakery section in Marks and Spencer, they're in the wrong place. They don't know who you are. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they're responsible for building where they are. Nando's is in a completely different business. It's not a baked goods business. Well, by baked goods, I mean your cakes and your biscuits and things like that. So what are you responsible for? Whatever you are, we'll have to begin to ask that question, because creativity was never designed to only produce objects. Creativity was designed to produce environments, solutions, industry. Someone sent me a video of a girl cutting herself. And she said, what do I do? This was as in, well, guess what? The worst one even was the person was cutting themselves, not with a sharp object, with their fingernails. So they were sat beside them at an event and she filmed her just digging into herself because she is that type of person. So what do I do? We need to find a solution for that person. Now, I'm just trying to show you a solution, because in that person is an economic powerhouse. But we have to find solutions. We have to find and build industries, movements, and economies. Is it not what God showed us in Proverbs 3:19, where he says, by wisdom I founded the earth. Then he says, by understanding he established the heavens. So it's like you have to build something, an environment. We know that just creation alone is a very strategic act. That you can produce something is strategic. But guess what? Beyond that strategy, they'll be like, okay, what is it for? What does it do? So God did not create randomly. Those mountain systems you see is not random. You see the whole of Amazonian forest. The Amazon forest is not random. Do you know it controls whether it rains here? Amazon is all the way in South America, but it controls the rain that falls in India. It controls the rain that falls in Africa. Unbelievable. Creation wasn't random. So you do something here, but it's powering the economy of Japan. We create something in the Nxtion family. It's churning and hoovering young people from hopelessness out of the ends into profitable ventures and endeavors and play. Did you see creative culture pack out? Bringing people out of where they are by themselves and turn them into something. God created ecosystems. He's calling us to create ecosystems. I hope that this week 12 has wiped away, dialed down, if not deleted, every noise in us so that we can get into the call we heard yesterday. I went out yesterday, sat down in a meeting, trying to close a deal at the fastest I can so that I can bag 10K in order to come say, yes, this is possible. I will close that today. God created order. We have to create order. Therefore, my people, hello, are you still with me? Are you still with me? Our highest of creativity is not going to be just simply making beautiful things, beautiful bags, beautiful clothing, beautiful events. No, we have to now understand that PT is asking us to build systems that sustain life, that sustain a vision. In Creative Battle, we looked at, do you understand what this vision costs? Do you know that it costs money even? And what are you going to do about it? Okay. Creative economy. Scripture makes us understand that wealth is hidden inside creativity. It has forever and always been. Do you understand that? Wealth has always been hidden inside creativity. There is a scripture that I came to have a new understanding of. It's that one that says that a man's gift makes room for him. It makes way for him, and it will bring him before great men, before kings. I think it's Proverbs 18, somewhere, verse whatever, but it's there. Trust me. Proverbs 18, maybe verse 6. A man's gift makes room for him. But after yesterday's broadcast and in thinking about how do I become part of this, I had a new understanding of this scripture. I'm not here to give you revelation that is massive. I'm just saying this is how we're going to make money. Why? Wealth is already hidden in you, the creative. If you are creative, and this is every human being on earth, but we are fortunate to be the sect or the group called creative people, which really doesn't mean anything. That's what every human being is. But fortunately, we can say we are. The world have accepted that we are. What I want us to now be is people who they accept is the wealthiest, because we know how to convert this creativity that we have into serious money. So that scripture, a man's gift will make room for him, has always been mistaken. Well, that's how I mistook it, that my talent or the shoe I buy for someone, the gift I take to someone will make opportunities for me. It will cause them to come, bring me closer to them. No, there's a deeper revelation, because a gift is not just an ability. What it is, so a man's gift makes room for him. So if a Pastor Shemaiah is a painter, it says the ability for you to paint is a divine solution encoded inside you for the amount of people. Guess what? She is leading so many people. Why? Because she is a good speaker? No, because the gift of painting is inside her. The scripture is saying that this painting gift that you have, this creative gift that you have to write poems, to write songs, this thing, it will open doors for you. But for one reason, as a solution to the world problems of the world. Why is the world trooping towards PT? He has solved problems. I hope you're getting this so that we can understand first why we are going to go and build business. Try and build a business because you want to make money. It will fail, Because the economy you're building it for to make money can just shift. People will be like, we're no longer interested in dressing. We just want to walk around naked. What are you going to do with your fashion business? So, the gift that creates room, or a gift creates room because society has a need, something that is a pain in society. So this question now changes from how can I sell my creativity to what problem has God designed me? That design is the gift that is in you. What problem did God design my creativity to solve? So that you can see why we will set up. Remember when PT said, ask, do you have whys? Why this? Why this? Or what if, was that always how someone gave birth to Uber? What if I can just be here and watch my cab come to me? Unbelievable. What if? He was saying, do you have what ifs in your industry? Guess what? That's how you make money. So £1 million businesses are not created because somebody is talented. I'm talented for all day long. So where is £1 million then? You are talented. Send me a screenshot of your bank balance. But you are talented. We all are talented. Let me tell you what we're not looking for. How do we solve problems? See where PT is. See where PT is from looking at the society and saying, I will solve this problem. I will solve this problem of lack of leadership. Young people are killing themselves. Lives are being lost left, right, and center. Guess what he has done? He's built a £1 billion organization. Unbelievable. We are going to create something because someone, one of us, hopefully all of us, will discover a significant problem and deploy all of our gifts as a solution. So you better believe this, every event that PT says go and put on as a community, it's not because we want to be seen making noise. No, discover problems and find ways to deploy solutions. It will eventually make bread. So when this first part happens of discovering problems, guess what kicks in secondly? Guess what kicks in? Creative enterprise that now makes sense. Where you go, or where we go from gift, the ability to paint, sing, conduct music, whatever, where we go from gift to organization. I have thought about this thing just from yesterday to now, and I started putting down everything that I'm sharing with you now. How are we going to be part of 1111 in the £11 million conversation? Or quickly, excuse me, quickly between now and weekend, how are you going to be part of the 10K, the 20K drop? Find a solution real quick. Yesterday, sat down or brainstormed with the pastor, but wherever we found a problem and we are starting to engineer a quick solution. Why? To raise money very quickly. It's practicing it so that we can put it on a prolonged scale. From gifts, we have to go to organization. Organization can be system organization, or it can be an actual organization of a business. Habakkuk 2:2, you know what it says, the famous scripture. It says, write the vision down, make it plain, as in write it somewhere. That scripture says on tablets, but they didn't know today we're going to have iPads, we're going to have Instagram, we're going to have TikTok. Put your vision down somewhere. Better yet, just keep it on a notebook. What we're doing now is casting vision, making it plain, even though, yes, it's on YouTube, it's going up wide. Why? So that he may run that reads it. This thing has to be clear from gift to organization. So what it means by that is, so someone is going to say, okay, so you're a painter, so you're a designer, so what? Vision was never given to merely inspire. It's a waste if all it does is inspire. Vision was given so that we can organize movement from someone who is in hopelessness. Vision has to cause them to move. Vision has to cause this hand to move into someone's pocket bring out their card or cash, preferably, boom. It must cause movement. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. The mistakes we creatives make is just carrying vision all around that only live in our imagination. It only lives here, but God says, write it down. Today can be post something. Again, me and Pastor Uyi have fashioned a flyer to say we're going to make it plain, clarify it, structure it, and then communicate it. Why? Because we're asking people, there is something we can teach you. Why? We want movement to happen, for people to leave A and come to B. Once that has happened, lives begin to change. And then what happens is when they've come, they exchange, because before Sainsbury's can take my money, I have to go to Sainsbury's. So we're trying to build things that cause people to move. If not, all day long we say, oh, I can't give and I can't give and I can't give. Why? What have you built that causes movement? Or is the vision just stuck here? So if God says in Habakkuk 2, write the vision, make it plain, write it where someone can pick it up, read it, and it says when they read it, it will cause them to run. Let me tell you, a vision, write this one down actually, a vision that cannot be transferred, it can never become an enterprise. A vision that cannot be transferred. You know why you and me are here? Because PT was able to transfer a vision in words, in rooms that was inspirational, in what he wore, how he presented himself. At first, he was alone by himself. But that transference, because he even left a place and also moved, he started picking up traction, picking up people along the way. Say, follow me, I will make you, and so on. Is that not why we're here? Vision that cannot be transferred can never become an enterprise. So that painting that Pastor Shemaiah cannot get out of her head onto a canvas is never going to hang on a wall somewhere in Mayfair having been sold for $1 million. It's not possible. So the question for us creatives becomes, can someone understand your vision? Can someone understand our vision enough to build with us? Is it possible? Can someone get what we are about? Creative Nation, can people understand who you are, who we are, in order to want to build with us? This must be, so this is why you cannot win souls, because it's a demand from the nation. No, win souls. Then you're just going to say, hey, to people, hey, what? What will keep them? What will cause them to make that internal movement? Yeah. I hope you know that businesses are not built by one person's creativity. No, look at the nation. 12 families. Well, families, family heads, soldiers, people. Let me tell you what businesses are built with so that we can understand the next place we are going into. I'm trying to structure this out beautifully so that we're not confused. Businesses are built by a collective alignment. All of us, collective alignment around one person's vision, PT. I'm not coming lower, but let me show you another expression of PT. PSAM, Pastor Mariam. On a broadcast, they began to challenge us on an 11 million conversation. We have to gather around as a collective, around that singular vision, and create an architecture, a blueprint, a plan, and go to work and build something. Build houses that can carry wealth, systems, businesses that can create money over and over and over again. Hebrews chapter 3, verse 4 says, every house is built by someone, but God is the builder of everything. I'll hopefully keep me reminded so that I can tie that scripture in. Or let me say, the reason why this scripture is profound for business is a house is not created by desire. Do you know marriage that everybody wants to get into? It's not created by love. That I love you and you love me is not the reason why marriage is poof created. No, no. It is by vision. Where are we going? What is this? It's a business contract. I know probably someone is not going to like hearing this, but what do you think it is? It's the same way every house requires a foundation. Why hasn't this collapsed? Because there's a foundation, there is a structure, there is the right materials. You cannot build anything. Marriage is a house. You can't build it on something fleeting as love that you cannot touch. That thing is colorless, it's odorless, it's just, you can't find it to trap it, to use it for anything. Yeah, that's why one word can puncture a hole and it's gone. Try and build a balloon and say, well, I'm going to live in it. Wait till the wind blows. So a house requires structure. It requires foundation. It requires skilled workers, people who will understand the design, who will understand the material, who will understand the function of that house in order to use the right materials. And guess what? All day long, it requires maintenance. All year long, it requires maintenance. All life long, it requires maintenance. The same applies to any business we're going to build in order to be part of a big, wider financial conversation. So for us to, my screenshot has something PT said years ago, and I'm going to get there and I'm saying to you, can you join me? He said that day, your income, and I became that your, I am that your, it's me, my income, your income should be £1 million a month. But says, what can I do if you're forcing me to come down to your level of faith? Even what he said next is still not your level of faith. It wasn't my level of faith. Yes, I've sold bags or made things that are that amount of money, but it's not repetitive. It's not every day or every month. So it's still not our level of faith. He said, okay, let's say for now, let it be 50K a month. If you know when he said this, only now are we achieving it, which is not right. So for us to enter into £1 million monthly, it cannot be built on my talent alone, your talent alone, or passion. I have passion for it, or I'm inspired. Let's go and do it. It's not going to work. It requires architecture. If you're running away from weather, it's raining, sun is too hot. Even if you put up an umbrella, the wind can take it from you. You require architecture. You require a place that was designed to produce shelter. Until we do the same, people will not run into somewhere to take shelter. And guess what? While they are taking shelter, Food Nation, what's that? Beautiful pies, beautiful jollof rice, succulent meat, well cooked, tender, falls out of the bone. They now exchange their money for that because architecture is already in place. So we, the creatives, we must become both. We must become the artist that imagines, and then we must become architects that construct. We were in a meeting the other day, and Pastor Kunle said something, and PT was like, do it. That for a while, we had been choosing between building and sowing. And he said, sir, I would like to do both now. That's what informed what I just said to you. We, the creatives, must become two. Those people who imagine. And in our imagination will be, I want to sow. I want to be this. Guess what? Become the architect who builds the world that makes that possible. You build the business that will sow regularly. I live in the 7th floor. Where I am now is the 7th floor of a building. The reason, if I walk in to any part of this building, this room, this building that requires water to come out of, if I turn any of the taps, water will flow. What time is it? 10:18. We'll end very shortly for this part one. If I turn a tap, water will come out because a system of pipes has been designed to bring water. Every single time water comes out. That's the same way we must build this system of pipes to the HQ, so that whenever PT turns it to fund the mission, water comes out every single time. Let me ask you, join me. Let us make mobilization a thing of the past. Okay, let me put it this way. Let's put Pastor Mariam and P. Sam out of their job. As in, let's fire them, so that they're going, these people don't need mobilization anymore. I'm not saying that's the only work they do, God forbid. But guess what? I'm saying let that part of their job or their headache to always talk to these people be forever dealt with. Let me begin to round up for this one and talk to us about what really makes these things happen is what 1 Corinthians 4 verse 2 says. And it says, moreover, it is required of stewards. It is required of us stewards to be found faithful. What does this mean? We must want God to test us with capacity. There was a word I was listening to way back. God was saying, PT was saying, God, test me with $1 billion. Don't test me with poverty. What am I going to do with that? I'll forever be faithful to you. Test me with $1 billion. I'm showing you why he who supplies seed to the sower, why he will supply. The things we have to put in place for our economy, this creative economy, to be supercharged. We have to be found faithful. Ask yourself, or people ask, can God trust me with money? There's a deeper question, which is the one you can see is attributable, if that's the word, to PT. The question is not, can God trust me with money? It's, can God trust me with influence? Because money amplifies anything it touches. Wherever money comes in abundance, how have you felt when £500 is in your account? 5K is in your account, 10K, 50K is your account. How do you think you become? Ask yourself. So can he trust you with influence? Money amplifies whatever already exists. So the question is, what is existing? Because money is about to supercharge that thing. A monster will just appear from nowhere. It can be a monster kind people, as in it can be kindness on a monster level, or it can be destruction on a monster level as well. A poor steward with money. Remember when God says, blessed are those who are poor in spirit. A poor steward, someone with no compassion, no this, no that, no this, guess what? They will become a bigger problem with money. A poor steward will become a bigger problem with money. But a faithful steward, they become a greater solution to a problem. Look at the PT. Look at how many people who have not reoffended at the level they were offending before. They joined him and started offending in Fendi. Yeah, I just wanted to add that there. But you get what I'm trying to say. The goal here is wealth with purpose. So that if we can get all these things right in our spirit, guess what? 11 million will be easy to make. Why? Somebody says, I supply seed to a sower. Become a sower, someone who cares for the land, someone who has ownership of the land. Another scripture tells us that somebody found something in the land, something precious. You know what they did? They went and bought the land so that they can say, I own a land. Do you own the house you live in? Your family house? Do you own it? As in, you say, I will take care of this thing. It's mine. Do you own a portion of the Nxtion family? I will be part of this thing. The greatest real estate to acquire. Do you own a portion of PT's heart? I get this part of this vision. I want to be part of it. The one who says he supplies seed to the sower will give us wisdom on how to get into 11 million pounds. Will give us vision on how to get into what we need to get into for this weekend. I'm going to leave it here today. But all I'm saying is it's time for us to now come together and start making money. But look around you in the world. Structures exist, what people have built. I'm not asking you to copy the world. I'm not asking us to copy the world. But guess what? We have to make money in this world. We can't pull it out of the air. Systems have to be in place. Our faith has to meet works. That works must include excellence, diligence. It must include the qualities and attributes of the leaders that we're looking at, that scripture says imitate their faith. PT's faith is how he turns up to his meetings on time, what he represents, who he is, and so on. It's the same way that a shop front must become. Why? It's a shelter for the broken. It's a shelter first. It solves a problem for society. This is the kind of businesses we're supposed to build. And guess what? Money will follow. Mark Zuckerberg thought, how can I help people connect? He was solving a problem. Look at where that landed him. Elon Musk is forever trying to solve problems. Look at where that landed him. I'm talking about people who are far that we haven't met. Look at where PT is today. Even the room I was in yesterday talking about trying to be part of this conversation. I'm thinking, how did I get here in this room? I'm a national. Imitating what I have seen. Let's build in order to sow like monsters. That's what this creative economy is talking to. And let me tell you what this will mushroom into. Pastor Kevin is going to come on and tell us about his creative economy. Pastor Shemaiah is going to come on this and tell us about his creative economy. We must begin to speak to ourselves about how are we making money, so that someone out there will see this and say, listen, guys, I've got $1 million to join. How do I join? How do I become part of this? This must become our collective drive now. Who are you going to be the next second after this? We must find all of this now, because PT said to us, have this conversation regularly and watch what happens. And there's a scripture that says, if we believe God, we are established. I don't want to be just established. I want my establishment to manifest itself in Mayfair. I want Carnaby to have a shop in Mayfair, in the right places. And I want our dwelling place. I've always desired a 9-10 bedroom townhouse in the heart of London for just creatives, where we operate from. Every floor and every room will represent a kind of business, a kind of mindset, a structure, an organization where we do the nation's building. I'm going to leave it here. I love you all. We will reconvene again. Just looking at comments to see if there's anything I can respond to. Creative enterprise, one that makes money for the kingdom, is what we have to begin to prove that we have diligence to build. Have a wonderful day. Keep this thing in your mind 24/7. And keep your heart open for the next installment of the financial broadcast we're about to enjoy. And draw faith from it. Have faith to receive. Thank you. I believe as well. And that's all I'm looking for. One person who will believe with me. Uyi said, sir, I hope that didn't mean that I was lying. I hope that you're saying, sir, let's go. If that's what it was, then let's go. I love you all. Thank you very much. Let's tune out and tune in and get ready for the other broadcasts. Thank you. We reconvene next week, but the conversation continues offline. Let's go make money. Call me, tell me that you found a way. And I'm not talking of quickly, let's do something. But let's begin to build something that all it needs to do is turn a tap and water flows out. God bless. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.